Hey everyone, how you doing today? As promised in our daily financial news, we got a busy day for you. We're coming on strong with Omar. We're talking about what does it take to do your first flip. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing well, man. It's not as easy as the HGTV shows make it look, huh?
Not at all.
So if you were talking,
I wish it was that simple.
yeah, no, you just roll up, you blink, and like 7 seconds later, the house is done, and you roll out with a six-figure check, right? It's that
Right.
easy. So let's pretend like we're sitting down across from somebody at a Starbucks or wherever, and they want to do their first flip. What's some advice you would, where would you take that conversation to begin with?
To start, it's like, how much, first of which, how much money do you have? Okay. That's
Yeah.
number one. Number two is, what are you going to do when you do get the property? Do you have a team in place to do the remodels, or are you going to do it yourself? Because everybody is an owner, builder, or an owner, like I want to do it myself type of flipper initially. And understanding that you do have a full-time job, and then you're going to all of a sudden take on a project of, flipping a house, putting the floor in, demoing it, all that other stuff. And then the third thing is, how are you going to maintain the payment? Because most people just don't have, 200-300K in their bank account to go buy one flip.
Yeah.
So how are you going to be maintaining that payment, that interest only payment, every single month? And are you in a position to market it yourself? You're going to Zillow it? Are you going to Redfin it? Whatever you want to call it? Or do you have a relationship with an agent investor or an agent broker that can market the property for you, and then you're going to have to pay them a commission. So you should probably know before you get into the flipping game what your exit strategy is going to be the minute you show up to that appointment.
Yeah. So when I think about those conversations, and I have them a lot, I think of 5 things. So first off, when I sit down for Starbucks, I'm playing coy, right? I'm trying to get that person who invited me there to talk, because I'm looking for these
Right.
five things. And oh, by the way, there is a right order and a wrong order. So I'll go through these 5 and we'll play it out. First,
Okay.
are they coming to this conversation and all they're talking about is design and colors and flooring and just all the HGTV sizzle features, right? That's design is a part of it, but I promise you it's not early in the 5.
Not at all.
Next, I am talking about time, right? Do you have a feel for your timeline, right? Start to finish. What is the time you have available? Is this a weekend hobby for you? Is this a business for you? Tell me about time, right? It's our only non-renewable resource or asset. Next up is dollars, right? Are you funding this straight up? Do you have a JV? Are you doing a hard money withdrawals? Try to give me a feel for how the money is going to come together. And what happens if there's a surprise? Your ARV is wrong, repair numbers, or like, what happens if there's a negative surprise? Where do you go from there, right? Do you have reserves? Then team, because even if you are a contractor, right, you likely are going to need team members, whether that's a realtor on the exit, a banker. If you're not GC, do you have an electrician, a roofer, a painter, whatever it is, right? Tell me about your team. Right? Do you know no one or do you know everyone? And then finally, tell me about the numbers.
Right.
Make me feel like you understand the numbers, the purchase, the repair, the after. So again, when I look at those 5 things, this is the order I hope to hear them in. And, first off, let's just get this out of the way. If the person at the coffee table is only talking about design first, that's a recipe for disaster. Just straight up disaster. If that is not the 5th of the 5 things, we have a problem, right? If it's number 2, it's a problem, right? So for me, depending on who you are, it could be either dollars or team, right? Depending on whatever the constraint is. Whatever is number 1, the other one is number 2. Then make me understand it's a good deal, right? Remember, the market, all of that. And then finally we go back to, then time, I guess, and then design, right? Design is the least important. I would love to go to a flip conversation. We don't talk about paint colors and flooring and stuff like that, because it's a nothing.
It doesn't even turnkey ready house doesn't really matter right now, not unless you're in the super higher dollar where you have to worry about that design.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for, right? I'm basically trying to ferret out, are you an HGTV disciple? And if they are, I try to scare the shit out of them, frankly, because they're gonna go down a rocky path and not enjoy the ending, in my opinion, if that's where they're coming from.
And it's so much. There's so much truth in that, Michael, because everybody sees it on TV.
Yeah.
And they see the color schemes, they see this, they see that, but at the same time, it's one of those things where, hey, like, you're buying something, make it look nice, and then resell it for a profit. That is all that anyone needs to care about. What the profit is at the end of the investment.
Yeah. And again, you and
Not what it looks like and how cool it looks.
You and I perpetuate this a little bit, and not on purpose, but you and I do walkthroughs, right? We did that walkthrough of that house you bought, the 1970s house. That's like the perfect thing to buy. Everybody can look at that and go, that's old, right? Meaning outdated.
Yep.
But that's not the magic. The magic is, you know what the ARV is, you know what needs to change. You have the team lined up. You were at that house because what was happening is your team was showing up after we did our call. It's all the blocking and tackling that maybe we need to do a better job of positioning, because again, we walk through an ugly house. We'll do it again when it's done. And people are going to go, oh, Omar and Mike do it all the time. So we really should do a better job of talking about blocking and tackling in teams, and what are the negative surprises? Like, oh my God, this broke, or the windows are backlogged and it screwed up my timeline. And, maybe we should do a better job next week of talking about where you can be surprised in a flip. And I know in our next topic, just to tease, it's going to be Burr. There are a lot of negative surprises in Burr. We'll talk about in a minute, but yeah. So back to flips. Go ahead,
Michael. You're right about maybe next week. Maybe we'll go on location on a project that we're in the middle of, and to give you an idea, like, hey, when we remove this wall, this is what might happen. When we purchase it, you don't know how the septic tank is, and that's $6,000-$7,000 for a new septic and seepage pit that we can't see underground when we purchase the property. So that's an added expense that gets increased in your margin, or decreased in your profit margin because you increase it in your rehab cost.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I mean, if you're willing to do that for this channel, that'd be awesome. I'd love to do something on location next week. That'd be great. The other thing to realize is, flipping is going to be a very profitable business in 2021. You got to do it right. And we're not trying to discourage you. We're just trying to protect you.
And this is the thing, not discouraging. We're protecting you. We're giving you the ideas and your foundation on how you need to start your flipping. And it's so key. Like, Michael and I wouldn't be doing this if we didn't have a team, if we didn't have our contractors already set, if we didn't have a predetermined, like, an understanding, an idea of what it's going to cost to flip this house, because you have to kind of know that with material costs. And then at the end number, okay, if I put in 30, my return is going to be 40,000, potentially $50,000 profit margin. I mean, that's kind of a double or a triple, not necessarily a single, but that's still a pretty good return on our flip.
Yeah.
If we're in that 40 to 50K range, most people don't do that.
Yeah. So again, just kind of wrap up, when you're thinking about doing a flip and you're that newbie around from the coffee table, we're going to want to hear about 5 things in no particular order. What are your dollar? Where you're sitting at dollar wise? Your money, somebody else's money, hard money. What's your timeline? Meaning both your time in the deal and the timeline of the project. The team, right? What can you do versus what others? What are the numbers, both purchase and exit? And then finally, if you want to talk about colors and design, so be it. But that is the least important thing.
That's it.
Yeah. Cool, man. I look forward to our next topic. Burr is something I love to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it.